We covered 2 months ago the bigger race that I think is happening behind the scenes, and that is the battle for the layer one solution with smart contracts. Now, Ethereum has been winning that race because Ethereum has had a huge head start over every other project. But Cardano and Polkadot have been really battling over being what's called the Ethereum killer. Now, many people think that nobody's ever going to supplant Ethereum and that they're going to bring this thing together. But just understand the challenges before Ethereum are gigantic, and there is a chance they could pull it off. But guess what? They have lost some of their best minds. Some of their best minds have gone to form Cardano and Polkadot. And so somebody once put it to me this way, that Ethereum's challenge in front of it is like having a jumbo jet flying in the air full of passengers, and they have to change the wings on the plane while it's in air. And that really is the challenge ahead of it, is how not to crash the plane while changing the wings mid-flight. Can it be done? It's really, really, really difficult. Now, the advantage that Polkadot and Cardano have is there aren't huge amounts of passengers with millions and billions of dollars locked in DeFi on their projects yet, so they can set it up right without worrying about ruining the lives of millions of people. And so Ethereum is going to have to be much, much, much more careful because they're carrying so many passengers, and Cardano and Polkadot can try new things, test it without ruining anybody's futures before they then roll it out to the greater public and for everything to get rolling on it. So do I think Polkadot and Cardano are going to catch up to Ethereum? I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's highly possible. Now, many of you have seen my videos in the past talking about Cardano and Polkadot, that I think each of them has a chance to get to $1 trillion market cap this cycle. And I know with this big pullback, that seems like so far away. In fact, if we look at where we are today, you will see that Cardano is at close to a $50 billion market cap, so 20x away from $1 trillion market cap. And look at Polkadot down here at just a $22 billion market cap. And so it's close to 50x away, about like what, 47x away from $1 trillion market cap. So in the next 3 months, though, I feel like we're going to get a lot of focus on these two projects. I see a lot of the things bubbling underneath the surface that are going to come out into general awareness. Now, Cardano, a lot of those things that have been bubbling under the surface for a long time are coming to the surface, which is why Cardano right now is ahead of Polkadot. And what are some of those things bubbling under the surface that puts Cardano ahead of Polkadot? Well, a lot of this is the news that's coming out about projects now building on Cardano. For the longest time, one of the biggest complaints people had is, oh, nobody's building on Cardano, and so it'll never amount to anything. Well, yeah, it's true that usually people are not building on it until they are. And now that we're getting close to the Alonzo hard fork completing the Goguen era, we're getting ready for smart contracts. So guess what? Projects are building on Cardano. As well as the way Charles set this up with this bridge from Ethereum coming over, not only are the projects building on Cardano or building for Cardano going to be on Cardano, as well as many of the projects currently on the Ethereum network going to bridge over to Cardano. And so I do think in the next 3 months, the future for Cardano is very, very bright. This retracement that we're seeing right now, well, this is exactly what a retracement looks like. And who knows, it could break out of this triangle to the downside, creating some really, really good pickups, in my opinion. This isn't financial advice to you. This is just my analysis of it, whether I think it's a good buy or not. You realize an investment in general, you make your money on the buy. That's why buying big red candles is a lot better than buying big green candles, because in general, big red candles are followed by green candles, and big green candles are followed by, you know it, red candles. So, I mean, yeah, I know that's an overgeneralization. Also, I like to buy for the long term during bull markets, and I like to sell before I think we're entering the bear market. Now, we've had this big pullback, and generally, if we look at Bitcoin, say, oh my gosh, we've had this huge pullback, and you see this head and shoulders pattern here. Could this lead to a further decrease? It absolutely could. Whether it will or not, I don't know. I think a lot of this is market manipulation to reset down to a great buying area. And every time we've hit around this 30,000 mark, you have seen huge volumes in buying. And so though we could break below this 30,000, we may not. If we do, that is a fantastic buying opportunity that we may never see those prices again. Because my guess is we still have a lot of room to run for this market. Now, why would I assume that we're not in a 3-year bear market now after such a big retrace? Number one, this isn't even a huge retracement. It retraced to the 61.8 line as I have it drawn out here. Let me share with you 2013. Okay, right around the same time frame. Now, it has less of a rounded top here, but Bitcoin went absolutely parabolic. It took off like crazy, and look at this retracement. Now, this is a scary retracement. We only retraced to the 61.8, but look at this. Went all the way down here, broke past the 78.6, came down to here. Now, that is a scary retracement. And guess what happened after this? Oh my gosh, wouldn't you know it? Huge, massive bull run. Holy frick, who knew that just because there was this big pullback, it did not mean that the bull run was over. So do I think the bull run is over? No. I think we have some big parabolic moves ahead of us later this year, maybe even a second one early next year. We'll see how it plays out. So I am basing my decisions based on the probability, in my opinion, that we still have some parabolic moves ahead of us, which has me very interested in altcoins. And so I'm always analyzing which altcoins I'm most bullish on. Now, I keep parts of my portfolio in different segments. And a big part of my portfolio is in these more stable altcoins. Now, you know the word stable and altcoin, they contradict each other, right? Because they're anything but stable, but they're not as volatile as the low cap coins in the 5 million market cap or 20 million market cap or even 100 million market cap. So even though the price on these is still highly volatile, it's just less volatile than the small market caps. Now, I do invest parts of my portfolio in the high risk alt caps that also have high potential returns, especially when I feel like we have plenty of bull run ahead of us. Now, as we get later in the bull run, when people are doing crazy FOMO buys, that's when I'm going to be taking profits and maybe putting it into things more stable, like maybe stable coins, who knows, maybe gold with Kinesis, or I think Freeway Token is going to have some gold derivatives as well. And so I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be diversifying into. Probably at first stable coins, earning some kind of return, as well as looking at other good buys. Though I have a background in real estate investment, in most places in the world, real estate has had a really big boom. So I don't know that I'm going to be diversifying too much into real estate because it's time for real estate markets to correct as well. So what exactly? I don't know. Fiat keeps devaluing itself. I will have to make that call later on this year and early next year, and I will definitely be keeping you updated on this. So do want to address overall the channel. What you get from me, I'm an investor myself. I started the YouTube channel just 6 months ago. I don't know everything about making amazing YouTube videos. I do know about investing, and up until I retired recently, I was a professional buyer for an investment firm making their acquisitions. So I always think about investment acquisitions and buying right. What I share with you is my thoughts on the current market, what good buys are, what they aren't, and other things, and just realize this is my opinion. None of this is financial advice. Though I'm often right, I am not always right. And so do always do your own research. You should be subscribed to multiple channels so that you can get a lot of information, decide what you think is the best. I do have a Telegram group. If you want to interact more, you can join that Telegram group. I have a very good admin that runs it. I do pop in myself a couple times a day and chat in there usually. So I am on Twitter as well, at Crypto Reign with 2 N's. You can find under See More, you'll see my exact Twitter handle. I did have to grab one with 2 N's because somebody had already grabbed Crypto Reign with 1 N back when I set that up. All right, so here's where Cardano is. Let's look at the next 3 months, how I think things will go. Now, we can see this big run that we've had here. Well, if we go all the way back to here, we have had a big run, and we're currently retracing to around the 38.2. Now, the cool thing about the Fibonacci retracement, it also gives you these extension lines of where we could go. And my guess is in the next 3 months that we go around the $6 mark. Now, think about what's going to fuel this kind of price rise, and it could go higher than this. But as we get closer to the Alonzo hard fork, guess what? We're going to see even more projects coming on Cardano that are going to be exciting. Second to that, as we get really close to the Alonzo hard fork, my guess is we're going to hear from a lot of existing projects that are finally ready to announce that they're going to be moving over to Cardano. It would be early for most of them to announce that now, but as we get close to that, that announcement will come and there will create a lot of FOMO for Cardano. And so we're going to see the price do very, very well. So what's going to happen to Polkadot? So we do see, I had this drawn out earlier, kind of a head and shoulders pattern, but it's not, not really a clean one. I don't know that's going to continue to drop from here. It could, especially if Bitcoin takes a big tumble. You'll likely see most of the alts come down in the short term. But think about the ecosystem. Kusama is launching their parachain auctions. After some of those have happened, then Polkadot will be launching their parachain auctions. So you will see probably a run on DOT tokens for those parachain auctions. And when that happens, it's funny how it fuels itself. So as there's a run on it, more news gets done on Polkadot, and then there's more of a run on price, and then more news on Polkadot, as well as more of a run on price. So I expect for the next 3 months that Polkadot's price is going to do well. So let's talk about who might win this at least through the end of this year. Now we're almost halfway through this year, and we did do a video last on Polkadot versus Cardano a couple months ago, and at the time there was some new, or I guess they weren't completely new, but there was like Polka Starter and some other launch pads. Some of the other launch pads had Polkadot projects on them. At the time, nobody was really announcing Cardano project launches, especially if we go a little bit farther back, like 3 months ago. So in the news was all these Polkadot projects coming out day after day, just a lot of news on that. And so Polkadot was pulling even with Cardano. Since then, though, Cardano has been benefiting from the news of many projects preparing for down the road to be able to launch on Cardano. So at the time, I remember people saying, oh, Polkadot's got all these people building on. Nobody's building on Cardano. Well, now they are. And guess what? Its price has pumped more than Polkadot because now it's having the similar news. So, I mean, really, its market cap is double where Polkadot was. So who do I think is going to be doing better by the end of the year? Well, I am highly biased towards Cardano. When was the last weekly AMA you had from Dr. Gavin Woods? Yeah. So part of the reason I think Cardano has built such a huge community is the transparency. Charles Hoskinson, though some people might not love his personality, I like it. I think he's genius. I love his AMAs, and he talks about whatever he wants, but the transparency is ridiculously good, which is what's built the community, as well as him continually sharing his vision. How much do you get from the Polkadot team related to that? Not the same, right? So could the Polkadot ecosystem take over and rule the world? Not really rule the world, but you know what I mean. Dominate? It could, but Charles Hoskinson is building better network effects because he is building a better and stronger community. So my vote is that Cardano is going to be at a higher market cap. With that said, we're investors here, right? I do want to share with you what price you pay has everything to do with everything. So let's say that Cardano is at a $1.5 trillion market cap, and I don't know that it'll get there, but we're just playing pretend here. $1.5 trillion market cap, but because Polkadot's price, essentially, not looking at the dollar price, but the market cap price is literally half of what Cardano's is, that if Polkadot is at a $1 trillion market cap and Cardano is at a $1.5 trillion market cap, which one made you more money? Yeah, Polkadot did. Interesting. So I do hold both, even though I think Cardano is going to be at a higher market cap by the end of this cycle. Just a thought for all of you. Now, I know a lot in the news is this big news about El Salvador, and it is such a small country, and what is happening there, though, has big impacts because it is making all these governments become aware or having to think about Bitcoin. And guess what? Most of their gut reactions are going to be, no, we lose control of monetary policy if Bitcoin becomes the default standard or gold standard across the world. So many politicians are going to have that gut reaction, especially those presently in power. They're not going to want it. So I say the word presently because the truth is, as this continues to roll out, the bigger question is who is going to be in power years from now as it becomes more relevant. That's unclear. But oftentimes what happens is, think about NFTs in the gaming industry. Are most of the big players in the gaming industry going to want to allow NFTs into their games and lose their trapped value? That's what they call it in the gaming industry. That's what they love, that if you stop playing the game, you have no ability to sell those assets. And so they're owned essentially by the game. And so it gives you a disincentive to quit because all that money you spent buying those cosmetic items or whatever then is lost. But if they then make those items NFTs and provide a marketplace for it, you can sell those and then exit the game, carry over that money to a different game. See, games don't want that. However, a lot of the game companies that are up and coming that want to supplant those other ones, they want it. So the question is, will Bitcoin get enough traction with the voters that the politicians better get in line, or they're going to be replaced with politicians that will go to a more fiscally responsible monetary policy, such as the previous gold standard, which would now be the Bitcoin standard. So a lot of your current politicians aren't going to want that. But if they don't adopt that and it catches enough traction across the world, we'll go this way. And it's great to see El Salvador going this way, and then Paraguay just announced it. It's hardest to be the first country to announce that big of a reform. But then the second and third and fourth, and what will happen is a lot of these other countries will see so much money then be directed at these other countries that the politicians will get in line because, number one, they realize they're going to get kicked out of office if they don't, or number two, they'll just later be replaced by politicians that understand it because huge amounts of money will start flowing to these countries that become very crypto friendly. Now, we saw this in the 90s that there was a Congress that was very friendly towards technology and innovation that led to the U.S. When I say Congress, specifically I'm talking about the U.S., that led to a tech boom, an internet boom, and technology boom inside the U.S. that amplified the wealth of the U.S. tremendously. And some other countries followed this, but not to the same extent. And so the U.S. benefited greatly from the wealth that came out of this. But the U.S. might fall behind as other countries are the first to adopt this. And if the U.S. doesn't get in line and Great Britain and some of the other countries don't get in line, they will then lose economic power to some of these other countries that don't. And some of these politicians down the road are going to realize that that's the choice that they're facing. And I think they will have to come in line, but we'll see. You probably will see a fight by many of these existing politicians against it because it does decrease the levers of power that they have. And what do politicians hate more than anything? Losing control of the levers of power, right? I do thank all of you for joining me. I've got a song for all you rainmakers. This is our rainmaker song. Now, what is a rainmaker? It's somebody that commits to the longer term, to your own financial future. You're not just here to trade crypto for a week or two, hoping to get rich in that time. You realize that the probability of that is very low, and you're committing yourself to a time frame that's much more realistic, that you'll be here not just for this run, but then the bear market that follows, and then the following bull market. And in that time period, it's way likely that you can improve your financial situation tremendously as long as you make smart decisions and that you learn how to think about these investments. And you learn when is a good buying opportunity versus a bad buying opportunity, even if it's a project that you completely believe in. So that's what I'm continuing to talk with about. And all you that have joined me on that shared vision, I call you rainmakers because you're making it rain for your financial future. And I do appreciate every one of you rainmakers who likes every single one of my videos and, shares my channel with others. As we're growing, it is giving me bigger reach into more projects so I can bring you better information. My end goal is to be able to have most of the projects on speed dial so that I can call at least somebody in the team on a regular basis, get better information and updates from them, as well as continue to bring them on to speak to you. And as we get a lot bigger than this, I will hold live AMAs. Just the audience we're 11,000 subscribers strong and continuing to grow. But as we get bigger, I will be doing more live shows. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Take it away, Manuela.
Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, rainmakers, let's make this happen. Let all the haters do their thing. There's no other like crypto rain. Analysis solid with reviews so good. Say goodbye to the haters and welcome rainmakers. Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, rainmakers, let's make this happen. Let all the haters do their thing. There's no other like crypto rain. Analysis solid with reviews so good. Say goodbye to the haters and welcome rainmakers. Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, rainmakers, let's make this happen.